And then when she got the imaging, her optimism went down significantly. And it's nothing against this physician, you know, she's just listening to what other doctors, other neurosurgeons and neurodevelopment specialists are telling her. But her prognosis and everything for our son just went drastic. She kind of almost discouraged us from adopting him, like saying that this is going to be severe, this is going to be a lot, you know, we don't know what unknown elements could be. If anything, my child is not returnable. So when I heard all of the things that doctor was telling us, it kind of went in one ear and out the other. I wasn't in a state of denial. I accepted and took on everything that she said. And I sat down with Jim. I said, you know, worst case situation, if our little boy at one point in his life, he needed to be in a wheelchair and he needed full on care, would you still love him? And we, without a doubt in our minds, we knew no matter what state he came to us, that we would love him.
Hello everyone, my name is Michelle, and today I'm going to be making a video about something that is everyone's talking about it right now because it is kind of insane, and especially because a YouTuber did this. Everyone on YouTube is talking about it, so I'm gonna tell you guys my opinion on it. I'm sure you've already heard, but basically there's these parents on YouTube who upload videos of their kids vlogging, and you know, Micah, the mother, is a stay-at-home mom, and she posts videos about her kids, and she and her husband decided to adopt a child from China. When you adopt a child from China, I believe they said that it was mandatory, or not mandatory, but when you adopt a child from China, they will have some sort of disability. And they said that they specifically wanted a child with some sort of disability. Now, I've worked with kids for about 3 or 4 years now, and what I've learned through this experience and through life is that special education is not a joke. You can't. I once worked next to this special education classroom, and children, you know, they will hit, they will have meltdowns. Sometimes the police had to be called because of how special education is not just education with a little bit of, you know, development issues. No. So they decided to adopt this child called Huxley. And you will be so surprised when you see this video that Micah uploaded about, I think in 2017, where she announced that they were going to adopt a child from China, and how she was having a conversation with, I don't know who it was, someone in social services or the adoption agent, was literally saying, you know what, like, you guys have 3 kids already, and then she got pregnant while they were in the process of adopting. But at first, before they even knew about the 4th kid, the adoption agent still said that, like, this child may never get potty trained. This child, you know, has brain tumors. And although they say in their video that everybody has saw, the one that was uploaded a few days ago, where they're, you know, crying on video saying, oh, we had to get rid of our son, which coming out, I don't know why, but when I said that out loud, it really hurt me. Like, they gave him away like you do to old clothes to Goodwill. It really does break my heart, because I watch these videos on Instagram of this mother who's telling this child who's having a meltdown to stop being so dramatic. I forget the exact words. Oh yeah, she said to get over himself.
Huxley has had multiple meltdowns.
I'm not having a good day today.
We never tell you guys the truth. And that's why you don't see Huxley a lot in the vlogs. He's probably having a meltdown. Are you done?
He's just having a bad day. He's a grumpy day today.
I did a thing!
Huxley, you look like Ruka. You gave him a Ruka cut.
Does he look 5 million times cuter? Oh my gosh, there's still hair all over the kid. Like, he was mad. He was like, we're not doing this.
Ruka?
Well, let's see you one more time. Show daddy.
Hi, Huxley Bear.
Hi.
He's not happy about that haircut, Mom.
Okay, let me wake him up for you.
It's just so sad, because I made a comment on someone's YouTube video commenting on this whole situation, and I'm like, you should never say that to a child in general. The child is not having an outburst because they want attention. Like, even if they are, you do not ever say, get over yourself to a child, let alone a special education child. That child in that moment was in a car seat and he was crying and he was probably scared and I don't know what he was feeling. Maybe he was feeling sick, maybe blah, blah, blah. And if someone were to tell her to get over herself when she was feeling this genuine emotion, she would be so angry and she wouldn't understand. When a child cries at that age, it is genuine to them. To us, it might seem stupid. Like, okay, this other kid took your toy, get over it. But this child has had no experiences in life. Losing this toy is extremely upsetting to them. So you do not say things like that to a child, and it was really heartbreaking to see this, especially because she makes these YouTube videos saying, I'm not gonna quote word for word, but she's basically saying that she's this amazing mother and she's a better mother than you are. So I know it was hard. When they were crying in the video, I have no doubt that those were real tears. It's really, really hard. I don't even know how hard it is. I've never been one-on-one with a special education child. But a lot of the time in these videos, and when they said that they put Huxley to sleep before the other children because essentially he is too difficult for them to bond with their real children, so they have to put him to bed early, and then, you know, they watch a movie in their parents' room and they get to bond then, which is making him sound like a problem. Like, you went into this head first. I don't know what they were expecting. In the video that they uploaded recently, they said that they weren't aware of the severity of Huxley's condition. And then you start to think, okay, well, that's fair enough. They didn't. But news reports are making things about this and saying, oh, they didn't know, so it's sort of acceptable then. But the thing is that they did know, they just chose not to listen. In this vlog, the mother said, we loved him so much and we wanted him so bad that everything that the adoption agent was saying about how we shouldn't go ahead with the adoption was going in one ear and out the other. And for that, I am quoting, because that is just insane to me, how they're gonna sit here and tell us that they don't know. No, they didn't know, because they chose not to listen. It would have been a different story if they would have said, okay, well, this child has he has some development issues, but we don't really know the severity of it yet because he's so young. But that is false. They did know that there may have been extreme issues, and they didn't care because they loved him so much. I don't know, if I just would want the best for a child. I know that I wouldn't do very well raising a 2-year-old child with autism because I'm 19 years old, and I'm sure that they should have connected the dots and said, we have 3 children, about to have 4, and we're just gonna take on this child. In terms of returning the child and putting him into a new household, at the end of the day, it was the best thing to do because these parents shouldn't be parents at all. The reason I say this is because they would not have given him away if they truly loved him, I guess, because they knew that they had other options. They knew that they could have hired a nanny, they could have hired a nurse or an expert, and it's just so frustrating because YouTubers act like they do not have money. This couple, they have 3 channels together, not 1 channel like most YouTubers have, where they make enough to survive happily and make a good wage on 1 channel. This family has 3 channels. They have this amazing new house, and they can most certainly afford to learn how to take care of a child with autism. Maybe you personally don't know right now, but you can learn with the help of someone who is specializing in these things. You can hire a nanny who has tons of years of experience with children in this same condition. Another thing that I'd like to point out is that I do think that they were exploiting him for views, and that's something that might be they weren't doing it on purpose and knowing that they were going to return him. As I've been recording YouTube videos for a few years now, I have experienced friends say, you know what, I just don't want to be on camera. And those friends were, obviously old enough and adults to make that decision. And that happens more often than you might think. People get uncomfortable when they're being recorded. I would be so uncomfortable if my parents recorded me at the age of 1 year old making all these 1-year-old mistakes, and then they're uploading complaining about the things that I've done as a 1-year-old. Like, I'm 1 year old. Everybody's talking about how they taped together their son's hand with duct tape. so that he wouldn't suck on his thumb, which is, I don't know, I feel like if you're 4 years old and you still suck your thumb, especially if you have autism, it's not the end of the world. You should encourage him not to suck his thumb, but at the end of the day, it is an anxiety mechanism. This is why children do it. It comforts them to suck their thumb. Expecting this child to stop sucking his thumb at the age of 4, especially if he's special education, is kind of nuts to me, but obviously that's not even the biggest problem here, because now this child is probably going to live with abandonment issues for the rest of his life. At first, when they adopted him, they knew that he had some sort of abandonment issues and attachment issues, and so they understood this. And even in a video, even the last picture that Micah uploaded to Instagram of Huxley, one of the hashtags was something like adoption trauma, and there was another one that was super relevant to what this child might be experiencing. Like, first of all, why would you make that a hashtag? That's kind of messed up. But they knew fully that this child would have a really hard time being yanked out of their household and put in another one. Like I said, it had to be done because these parents are not fit to be parents. I saw this couple upload to YouTube, and they had adopted children who were blind and special education, and I didn't watch the video fully, so I'm not fully educated on it, but they basically said that they understood why they had to give up the child. I would agree with that, but at the beginning of this video, I said that they knew the struggles that they could have to deal with this child, and they chose to ignore it. I know I just keep going over that, but to me it is just so shocking that this whole situation makes me feel so much less bad about not reading the directions on a science project, let alone not reading the directions on adopting a child. My mom was adopted, and my grandmother, my mom's mom, had 4 kids. 3 of them were adopted and 1 of them was biological, and my mom and everyone in my family makes it clear that my grandma would never treat them differently. Like, once they were hers, especially when you're holding this child and they're calling you mommy, and like, oh my gosh, like I cannot imagine anybody treating a child differently because they were adopted. I can guarantee you 100%. My cat has the zoomies, she's going crazy. All I'm saying is, if this child that they had recently ends up having autism or something, then I guarantee you they would have done something to help this child without coming to the conclusion that they need to give up the child. They had so many options, and they chose to go with one that angered everybody. Like, I can't even think of anybody who's okay with this situation. It is so sad, and it is so sad how it's public. They go on in the video about how they want to protect his identity now. And I'm like, okay, because you haven't been doing that for the past, 3 years, since 2017? You have been exploiting him, uploading his tantrums to Instagram. Yes, children have tantrums, especially if they're special education. Like I said, they will cut you, they will scratch you, they will bite you. Children will do that, especially, like I said, if they have developmental issues. And I'm watching these YouTubers get upset, and I totally understand it now as I'm recording this video. You try to sit down in front of a camera and explain this, like, it's angering. Like, you try it. I bet you won't be able to get through a video without getting so angry, because it is so sad. And I just hope that this child, when he gets older, understands that it was not his fault. I don't care if this child tried to strangle you in your sleep. He didn't. He was far too young, but children with behavioral issues might do that when they're older. Not this type of behavioral issues. It's 2 different things. This child was cognitive. He couldn't help it, and he must have been terrified. There's a difference between being a strict parent and just an asshole. Another thing I just thought of is that they have centers for children who have developmental issues like this. Almost like a daycare, and even you can come with and experience children, like sort of like an AA meeting, like families sit in a circle and like they talk about their issues that they've had with their child. They had so many issues, and the fact that they make it seem like this was the only way that they could go, and it was very angering, especially in the video where they're talking about how it was too hard. Like, this is not an honors class that you signed up for and didn't read the directions and how hard this honors class was gonna be, and so you just went in it anyway because it would, make you look cool to adopt a child. Like, it's just, oh wow. So what do you guys think about this? Do you have any comments? Did I leave anything out? I probably did, and I would love to hear things that you guys have to say. Thank you so much for watching this video, and goodbye.